Hey, good morning, traders. Thank you for being here. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room, and that is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. All right, so let's take a look at maybe a little bit of what happened yesterday and how we plan to trade SPY this morning. Let's drill down and kind of take a look around. All right, so let's look at the 5-minute, 10-minute chart. Okay, so hey, it's no secret, 10-minute chart's my favorite. All right, not opposed to looking at the 5 or the 3 for some turns when I'm expecting them. But anyways, here's a 10-minute chart. We traded. We had a 10-minute uptrend on the 16th. Well, we traded a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend into all day yesterday on the 17th. Okay, you can see there's that 10-minute uptrend. Try and blow it up here. You can see the yellow 3 EMA. All right, is on top of the 8 EMA. And all over the 17 EMA. That's the green dots right there. 17 is the green dots. And you can see here's price and the trap cutting away from VWAP, which is this brown line right through here. All right, so I like the 10-minute uptrend when it's over VWAP, and I like it even better. I like it really a lot when it's cutting away from VWAP. In other words, they're separating the trap and the candlesticks from VWAP, and you can see here as price kind of just melts up all day long. All right, so we had a target up here of about 629. Didn't quite hit it. I think they've already hit it in the pre-market, but that was our target, 629.23. We did get a kind of a waffle here at the double top, all right, before just moving up just a little bit higher and consolidating up there. Now, if you're in one of these 10-minute uptrends and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you got a little bit of waffle going on here, and you got some profit, I have one of those rules where, if you're not certain about, you don't want to lose those profits, taking 80% of those profits off, all right, and let the other 20% ride as you just watch price continue right there. Now, I like the 10-minute uptrend. As long as the 10 minutes intact, I will continue to trade this most times. But we did get a little waffle here at the double top yesterday. You can see here's the top, and you can see that red spinning tops, red doji right there, kind of waffled around. Price did. All right, so kind of looked like it was stalling. So again, if it's 2 o'clock, and this thing's been going up for 4 hours, all right? That's a long time, 4 hours, okay? And you're up there and you get a double top. Hey, I got no problem with you taking profit, right there at that double top. I mean, you only got an hour and a half of trading left in the day. Why not take 80%, book it as a nice gain, and let the other 20% ride? Or you can do 50%, whatever you choose. Again, it's just a matter of capturing the profits. That's what we're here for, okay? Again, remember, 629 was our target. It's not promised that we're going to get 629, all right? I mean, we want 629. It is the goal and the target for the day, but there's still the reality of it is we might not get it. We could have just as easily rolled over and headed back towards VWAP after failing to go higher, all right? If we would have failed to go higher right there, okay? But we didn't. They kept rolling it up and melting it up there. So there's SPY on that 10-minute uptrend, okay? So that's what we traded, a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. And with this consolidation right here that I'm looking at, I got to say, probably going to trade another continuation of a 10-minute uptrend here on Friday. So I'll be looking for another green candle, okay? I don't want anything like this right here. It's got more wick than body and tail. All right, I don't want a red candle because red candle is going to show me bearish control. I don't want a spinning top, all right, because that kind of shows me bulls and bears agree on the price. And I don't want a doji because doji show me bulls and bears kind of agree on the price, all right? So they're satisfied with where it's at. I'm going to be looking for like a decent red-green candle, something just like this that started off yesterday's move right here. Nice green candle that starts off yesterday's move. That is what I'll be looking for. Something like that, something like this. All right, something hopefully all solid. Hopefully very little wick and tail. Tail's fine, but I mean, all in all, I want a nice green candle that shows me that bulls are still interested in taking it higher from here. So, all right, so that's SPY. That's my plan this morning. All right, continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. Now, it's very likely we have not had a VWAP pullback in over, well, I'm going to just call it, this one happened at 10:30. So that would make this about 5.5 hours. All right, since we've had a VWAP touch. All right, so it's possible that they come all the way down to VWAP and then rally back up towards the highs and then go higher. We'll see what happens. All right, it's an options expiration Friday, so we're going to have some weekly options expire, I'm just going to say, and some monthly options expire. So anything's possible. All right, with these options that are going to expire, they tend not to follow patterns like the 10-minute uptrend. They kind of wiggle it around or slosh it around quite a bit on a Friday with weekly and monthly uptrends. Remember, market makers are out there to capture as much profit as they can for the company. So, you know, when they're out there, they may go after, whatever max pain is. All right, they may go after a certain number. All right, because that's how they make their money, is by having those options expire worthless or for very little money. All right, so that's a possibility today. We have to face that possibility almost every Friday. But this Friday, I think we're going to have monthly and weeklies are going to expire. So it makes it kind of like double dangerous right there. But again, I'm looking for a 10-minute uptrend to continue. All right, up higher. We'll see what happens. Right now, we're kind of in the pre-market. We're a little bit higher right now, so that's looking good. All right, let's take a look at the 10-minute chart, and you can see we got the 3 on top of the 8. So we coming into the close, we have a 10-minute uptrend on the 2-hour chart. Okay, the 3 is on top of the 8, so we have a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. And we look at the daily chart. And on the daily chart, you can see the 3 is on top of the 8, and you can see how price is holding the higher ground. It kind of moves up and then over to the right there. So let's grab the marker. You can see price goes up and holds the higher ground, okay? That is a bullish behavior. That is a bullish environment, okay? What's not is when price goes up and just gives it up, all right? That would be neutral. But it's not going up and giving it up, okay? Notice it's going up and holding up there, okay? That takes energy, all right, to get that done, for them to hold it up at those highs. It'd be like the equivalent of planking for 6 hours straight, okay? Takes an incredible amount of energy and strength, and that's what they're showing you, is this is strength in the SPY. And you can see it in the QQQ and the FNGU as well. Actually, I think it's in most of the indexes anyways. There's SPY, okay? So SPY made new all-time high yesterday, okay? So really, it doesn't get any more bullish than that, okay? It's like drop the mic. It just doesn't get any better. New all-time high, all right? If it's making a new all-time high, you know it's darn sure going to have an uptrend, at least on a daily or weekly, monthly, all right, or 2-hour, okay? and I'd imagine that all of the time frames are in uptrends if it's making a new all-time high. Okay, so there's SPY making a new all-time high. If you don't know that's bullish, that is bullish, okay, because it just doesn't get any better than that. And it's showing you strength by consolidating up at those highs, trying to break out of the launch pad that it constructed here over the past, well, since the beginning of July, right there. Nice launch pad getting constructed. Look for a blast off. I have targets of 655. All right. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to get there today, but if we just measure this move, I'm just gonna you know what I'm saying, gonna entertain myself for a second. Okay, so I just want to measure this right here. All right, from here to there. Okay, and now I'm just gonna duplicate that if I can. All right, and then I'm gonna stack this on the bottom of that. Now I'm gonna drag this down just a little bit. Okay, so you can see. All right, a measured move is a possibility right up here close, well, not quite 655, but 653.06. You can see it up there. Okay, so we'll see what happens, all right? But that would be a nice measured move to get up to 653.06. All right, let me just say, when it starts moving, it's probably not going to slow down and wait for you to give you an entry. All right, when it starts moving, you're gonna have to find an entry to get in when it starts shooting up to 653, 655. Okay, now I like to find a red candle and jump in on the red candle as long as it's up over the 3. All right, or a nice little pullback, and then you see the bull step in and take out the red candle. That's a perfect place to jump in case you miss this move when it takes off, because it looks like it's getting started. All right, I'm just saying. And the measured move is up to 650, and it might get there, you know, in an instant, and it might take 4 days. It might take a whole week. I don't know. All right, or it may take 2 weeks. I don't know. But when it gets going, and you feel like you're missing the move, all right, look for that red candle, maybe on the 2-hour time frame, something with a red candle, nice pullback, wait for the bulls to step in, give you that bullish engulfing move, all right, and just before you take out the highs, or as you take out the highs, be a good entry right there to go up higher, okay? So there's SPY on a 2-hour, and there is a possible measured move, all right, laid out on the table right there for a move. As you can see, we're constructing a launch pad, all right, and we're about to have liftoff here pretty soon. We'll see what happens. Things are looking good right now, okay? So there's SPY 2-hour. I did the daily. Weekly, okay? Weekly's in an uptrend if you didn't know it, okay? Monthly, okay? See the 3 on top of the 8. Monthly is in an uptrend if you didn't know it, all right? So you got everything is in an uptrend. So we've got all the wind in our sails, okay? You know, my favorite chart is, my favorite scenario, all right, is a 10-minute uptrend that happens to be inside that 2-hour uptrend, that happens to be inside that daily uptrend, okay? That's inside that weekly uptrend, that's inside the monthly uptrend. And to see all of that over the prior all-time high or the all-time high, okay, for me, that's the ultimate setup, all right? You've got every time frame is supporting that 10-minute move over VWAP, all right? So for me, that's a perfect setup. I love that one, all right, because it's very rare that you have all of that at the same time. Because once we get to our destination and then we roll over, all right, chances are we won't see something like this occur in maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 years before we get another rally like we have right now. And we've got a really nice setup for a beautiful rally. We've got You got the semiconductors and the technology sector making new all-time highs. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. You got the financials making new all-time highs, and they better be making new all-time highs if the market's making new all-time highs, because a big part of investment banking is facilitating these new market highs. Okay, all you got to do is ride the coattails of, BlackRock, big money capital. That's all you got to do. If you're not smart enough to do that, you shouldn't even be in investment banking. Okay, but we've got the financials are up at new all-time highs and bullish. Okay, now they haven't made a new all-time high in about 7 or 8 days, but they are up at those highs and they are bullish. Okay, so we've got financials, we've got technology, we've got semiconductors, all right, and we've even got the transports. The transports are not at all-time highs, but they are up there in quadrant 4, and they're bullish, and they're in an uptrend, all right? And then on top of all that, we've got a falling dollar. Weak dollar helps juice that market, okay? Because when we go to farm out or get contracts for our goods and services overseas and in foreign countries, all right, having a weak dollar makes us more competitive, all right, because they have to convert their currency to ours, and if we have a rich dollar, it's going to take more of their currency, all right. If we have a weak dollar, it takes less of their currency, all right, which then opens up new markets for us, okay, whereas things might have been closed off before, all right, because the dollar was too rich with the conversion, all right. So now the dollar's weaker, all right. It's at a 3-year low, so dollar's weaker. So now what we got here is those foreign countries are able to find a use, or they're able to afford our goods and services, all right, and hence then we start to grow our GDP, all right, gross domestic product, which is a measurement of how much revenue we're taking in from foreign countries into the United States, okay? That's revenue growth. This opens up new markets, okay? So we got all of that going on at the same time, which, let me just say, that could foster a really nice hyperbolic, parabolic rally, it goes way up to like maybe even 750 and probably falls just as fast as it goes up back to the base back here, okay? Just be prepared for something like that to possibly happen. Now, I'm a believer in the market moves in synchronicity, all right? So what you see on the bottom most times happens on the top. All right, so you see this move on the bottom here, and that's why I believe that may happen on the top as well. And that could shoot us up well past 650, on up to 700, maybe 720, 750. We'll see. All right, but that's SPY right now. So you can see Wall Street bought the dip here, okay, and they got a 2 reward for that risk unit. Okay, Wall Street bought the dip here, and they got well over 2 rewards for that risk unit. Okay, Wall Street bought the dip here, obviously. Okay, and it'll be interesting if they get 2 rewards for that risk unit. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, but that's been the pattern recently. Is when Wall Street buys the dip, they like to get a 2 reward, just like you and I. All right, so there's SPY again. That's my favorite. All right, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. It's not hard to remember. Inside that 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. I got to tell you, it just doesn't get any better than that. Okay, that's like having all of the wind in your sails and no headwinds at all. All right, and no rough seas, just a sheet of glass water just to cut through. I mean, it just makes it really nice and easy when you got those. And you can see we had that yesterday, all right, in this 10-minute uptrend, and it just flowed like water, like a river of money, just moving right that way. All right, this is big money moving right now. So it's like a river of money. All you got to do is find a red candle that's taken out by a green one and jump in. That's it. Can't find it on the 10, go to the 5. Can't find it on the 5, go to the 3. All right, it's a river of money just flowing. Okay, I mean, you could if you slipped and tripped and fell in, okay, you still make money. All right, it's there. All right, just pay attention. It's going up right now. Okay, green takes out red. That's my entry. All right, so there's SPY on a 310. All right, we're gonna finish up here with SPY. I'm gonna hit the game plan real quick. Then we're gonna move on to the rest of the markets. All right. Again, 10-minute uptrend. That's my favorite. All right. It's not too weak that you get shaken out, but it's kind of strong enough where you can see that 10-minute uptrend ran all day. If you'd have traded the 5-minute uptrend, well, you would have probably got stopped out once or twice because the 3 would have crossed the 8. Okay, but the 10-minute and the 15-minute are two of the better trends to trade because, you know, they tend to stay open longer. Of course, they give a little bit more fluctuation, but if you can stay with that trend and believe in it, 10-minute uptrend will usually run for about 2 to 4 hours. And then occasionally, if you get a trend day, it might even last all day. And yesterday, let me just point that out. We did have the trend day. All right, that's a 10-minute uptrend between the hours of 11 and noon over VWAP. All right, it's got to be over VWAP. That's a trend day. And when I have a trend day strategy, that pretty much means that 80% of the time, this strategy will produce a 10-minute uptrend that will take us to 2 or 230. All right, and then 40% of the time, all right, it will finish at the end of the day at the high of the day or near the high of the day, 40% of the time. And that was one of those days. Okay, 10-minute uptrend between the 11 and noon over VWAP, trend day strategy. Okay, it's probably going to run till 2:30. All right, and then 40% of the time it will end the day near the high of the day. All right, just so you understand that strategy. Okay, so here's a game plan for today. You can see the pivot. My pivot, all right, might be different than everybody else's. That's fine. That's okay. This is for me. All right, my pivot 626.45. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All right. I have a red erases green entry. Okay, underneath 624.50. So if I have a 10-minute downtrend and it happens to run through 624.50, it'd be an interesting place to trade a downtrend into that. Okay, now let me just say, if I get a downtrend that happens to originate up here and it's under VWAP, all right, and it's broken my rubber band candle on the 10-minute chart, okay, and it manifests or originates up here, all right, I will be highly interested in trading that 10-minute downtrend that happens to originate up here, okay? If it trades below the pivot, I will be highly interested in trading it down to 624.50. And if we get further, if it's early in the day, in other words, if there's still a lot of time left in the day, okay, I will decide whether I want to add to my position or take profit right here at 624.50. All right, so game plan, okay? Pivot 626.45 above it, I'm a bull, below it, I'm a bear. All right, we have a red erases green entry below 624.50. We have a green erases red entry over 628.25, basically high of day yesterday or all-time high. Okay, and I like 7 DTE option, Friday options on the multiple of 5. That's what I like, okay? They tend to have more open interest, all right, on the multiple of 5. And the Fridays tend to have more open interest than the other 4 days, okay? Except for the 0 DTE day, that does have quite a bit of open interest sometimes. All right, sometimes it's got more than the Friday, all right? But then again, when you deal with 0 DTEs, you're dealing with volatility. All right, it could turn on you at any moment. You don't know. All right, but it's I do play I do trade 0 DTEs. I just do it with smaller size. All right. All right, so I like $5 to $15 out of the money. Again, it's less risk. It's not going to cost you as much per share or per contract as an in-the-money contract. In-the-money contract is going to cost you more, okay? So I like them $5 to $15 out of the money, all right? So if price is currently at, let's just say it's at 630, just for kicks, all right? Out of the money would be 635, okay? And that's if I'm trading calls. All right, out of the money would be 635, 640. All right, so there's SPY. There's the game plan. All right, I like 7 days and 14 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, $5 to $15 out of the money. Okay, again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and breaking away, cutting away from VWAP. All right, and I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Again, and cutting away from VWAP, all right? See this right here? See the space between the uptrend and the VWAP right there? I like it when it cuts away from VWAP right there. See how we're cut away again on the following day? That's what I like. I can make a lot of money, all right, when I get that cutting away from VWAP right there, all right? Because that's where I can make a lot of money just trading that 10-minute uptrend. All right. When its price is flat and all it does is just waffle back and forth over VWAP, tends to be a choppy day. And I think I'm going to get a breakout, and only to find out that it's not a breakout. Okay. And then it cuts back across and stops me out. All right. And then it comes back up over. All right. So if you get a day, and I'm just going to say that Sundays are notorious for doing this. They usually on a Sunday, sometimes things don't get started till 11 o'clock. And the first hour and a half is nothing but 10-minute price candles banging back and forth, and they're actually attached to VWAP. All right? So I'll be surprised if we get a big green candle that shoots out of there. Sometimes it takes an hour and a half on a Sunday for things to really develop, all right? And you'll see it sometimes. There won't be a trade till 11:30, so prepare yourself for that this morning, okay? You might just see some banging around back and forth over VWAP for, who knows, maybe for 4 hours, probably well into 11:30. We'll see what happens, or 11 o'clock. All right, just prepare yourself, because it's a Friday, and I've seen this on multiple Fridays, that price really doesn't get started to move away from VWAP till after 11 o'clock. All right, I just want you to be prepared for that in case you get in and then you think you got stopped out. Okay, so if you want to get in, maybe one contract. All right, and just see what happens. And then as price starts to cut away, breaks that rubber band candle, that would be your trigger to get in on that. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. There's the game plan. Let's look at QQQ game plan. Yes, it is OPEX today. Yes. I think monthlies and weeklies. All right, and dailies. Of course, every day, dailies. All right, game plan for QQQ. Again, this is my pivot. They might be different than others. All right, 559.30. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green entry right here. 557.30. All right, green erases red entry. See already consolidation up there. 562.15. All right. Same thing. All right. I like the 7 and the 14 days till expiration Friday options. I'm not opposed to trading 0 DTEs. Okay. But if you're starting out with a small account, it always helps to be have a little less risk on the table. You're not going to get the performance that you would from a 0 DTE that's in the money, all right? But this will give you time to fix that trade, all right? If you've got more time and you're got some space for price to run, all right? So, again, I like a little less risk, all right? I like them 7 to 14 days, Friday options on the multiple of $5 to $15, less risk. They're going to cost you a whole lot less, all right, out of the money right there. Again, same as SPY. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and cutting away from VWAP, just like SPY. And I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP that are cutting away from VWAP. Again, if something manifests up here, originates, I'm not opposed to trading it down through the pivot down to this area here, long before it gets to the red erases green entry. Same thing on the reverse side. If I got an uptrend that originated like way down here, like this one did on the 16th, that originated down here, okay, 10-minute uptrend, you can see it right there. It originates down here well below the green erases red entry, all right? If it breaks that rubber band candle or passes through the pivot, I'd be highly interested in trading that up to the green erases red entry. Okay, so there's QQQ game plan. All right, on the daily chart, okay, I'm just going to say this real quick. Okay, that's a new all-time high. Just drop the mic, all right? It doesn't get any better than that. All right, there's QQQ. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, here's FNGU, all right? And you can see it's a move up, and we're holding the plank, all right? That's a sign of strength. That's a sign of bullish behavior, all right? We're not going up and giving it up. It's amazing when price does that. That is a real sign of strength, moving up and not giving it up. You're going to see some other products. I'm going to show you how they go up and give it up all the time, okay? But we watch this FNGU because it has 10 of the most weighted securities in the QQQ and SPY. And let me just say, those 10 products, when they move as a pack inside the FNGU, they can drag or hold those two indexes wherever the FNGU moves. All right, so you can see there it is right there. Price moving up, holding the higher ground. And that's bullish, all right? Up at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Anytime you're in the upper third, that's bullish, and you're up over that all-time high. That's the pink line, anchored VWAP right there. All right, let's take a look at IWM, Russell 2000. This is like small caps and mid caps, all right? Those are the big caps, that everything in the FNGU, those big heavyweights, all right? All right, so here's IWM. You can see price has moved up and is moving to the right. Notice it is holding the higher ground, okay, and it's bullish. Okay, see up here over 219.81, all right, that would be the upper third, everything above that. Okay, so that would be bullish. So that's bullish for IWM, holding the higher ground. That's a bullish behavior. They're in the upper third, okay, so that's bullish, and they're in an uptrend, okay? So here's a couple of lows. Well, here's 3 higher lows, okay? Here's a couple of highs. That's a higher high. So that's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs, that's an uptrend right there. There's IWM, okay? That's bullish and in an uptrend. Diamond Dow. All right, you're up in quadrant 4. Again, holding that higher ground, okay? I'm just telling you, if you watch for this out of the majority of what you want to buy, all right, you're going to see that that is the behavior you want to find for your next purchase, okay? Okay, because that kind of signals that another move could be coming to the upside. Could be, not guaranteed, not promised, okay? But it is a extremely bullish behavior to move up and hold that higher ground because it takes so much strength to do that, okay? So there's Diamond Dow, all right? It's making, here's a couple of lows. You can see 1, 2, 3 higher lows right there. Got a couple of highs, and there's a higher high up there. So that's bullish and in an uptrend, okay? That's Diamond Dow. Okay, so you've got all of the Fab 5 are in bullish and in uptrends, okay? You saw QQQ, SPY making new all-time highs, okay? Doesn't get any better than that, all right? And then you got FNGU, which is the big cap stocks, all right? Those mega caps. I mean, they got, like, some of them got like a $4 trillion market cap. That's crazy, right? $4 trillion. All right, so you can see those are those big cap stocks, and when they move or project or announce their earnings, they can move the markets. All right, and we are starting and kicking off a new earnings season right now. Okay, so this could get interesting here this month and next month. All right, so there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2122 on the 15. This is the one I watch. I like to watch the 15. Okay, you can see we snapped out of the sell zone. All right, we went airborne right through seller's chop zone, through the buyer's chop zone. Well, actually, we left off the previous day in the buyer's chop zone, and we are up here in the buy zone. So I would expect price to probably waffle back and forth between the buy zone and the buyer's chop zone. Okay, that's kind of what I would expect. If they get overly bullish, up into the overbought zone. But all in all, I think between these two, I would expect, only because it's OPEX Friday. All right, so we got some options that are going to expire, and the market makers are going to go after the max pain, or in other words, max profits for themselves. All right, so they're going to find a way to make it happen. More than likely, okay? T2122. All right, so T2123. Hey, look at this, okay? This is new all-time high for the rally, not for the all-time high, but a new rally high made yesterday on T2123 15-minute chart. Okay, they were in a downtrend. All right, and you can see there's a high right there, and they made a higher high. So guess what? They just negated the downtrend and converted an uptrend right there. T2123 in an uptrend. All right, you can see on the 17th, buying from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Look at the strength here. Okay, you got a bullish gap up that never got filled. Okay, that's a sign the bulls are in charge. When they don't fill the gap before noon, all right, that's a sign the bulls have control. All right, so gap up, not much, but a gap up nonetheless. Okay, hold the higher ground and just melt up. That is bullish. You're up over the rising 200 SMA. That's bullish. Okay, you've already taken out these two prior all-time highs. This is the all-time high. We've got some consolidation over here on the left that we need to cut through, and it's probably going to take us maybe a half a week or a week to cut through that consolidation so that we can get into a position where we are attacking the all-time high up here. All right, so that's T2123. Again, a lot of bullish gaps that have not been filled by the bears, showing you bullish control. All right, that the bulls are in charge. All right, so there's T2123. We're going to look at the same product, but we're going to look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, see right there, bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Another bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Another bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Look at them all. Another bullish gap, not filled by the bears right here. There's a big one right here. You could put a dump truck through that one. Bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. Okay, so we got a low, we made a higher low. Okay, so we got some highs here and here. Well, we made a new rally high, so that's an uptrend on the 3-bar chart. okay? And all of this over here, see this peak, that valley, that peak, and that valley, okay? There's the consolidation that we need to cut through. All right, so I'll box this off so you can get an idea of where we are and what we're dealing with, okay? So right now you can see we've just dealt with this valley. All right, so once we cut through this consolidation, you can see we've got another valley here to deal with and a couple of peaks. Once we cut through that, hey, it's smooth sailing, all right, to come up here and attack the all-time highs. So once we cut through all of that, and it probably will take a week or two, all right, to get there. But there's T2123 in an uptrend and bullish over the hooking 200. Notice the hook has now started to point up now over the hooking 200 SMA. Okay, that's T2123. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. That's our next one. And we'll zoom in here a little bit. And FNGU, okay? Again, we see price, okay? What's price doing? It's moving up, it's holding, okay? It's a move up, and then, come on, let's look at that. Holding the higher ground. That's bullish, okay? Yesterday, I think we climbed on top of the 200. Yes, we did. We're back up on top of the 200 SMA. That's bullish, all right? So we are seeing a bullish behavior exhibit right here. Thank you, Alan. All right, Alan always shares a lot of the economic data, and I love that because I don't have time to go and run and get it during the video, and that's awesome. Thank you, Alan. All right, so there's FNGU holding the higher ground, okay? That's bullish. Okay, you're up over the all-time high. That's pink line, all-time high anchor VWAP. That's bullish. All right, let's take a look at some sectors, all right? Start off with XLE, and I didn't want to do that. Let's try this one more time. Over to the daily chart, game plan chart. Yeah, okay, now XLE. XLE. All right, so, okay, examples of moving up and giving it up, all right? Okay, right here, look, up, give it up. Okay. Okay, another one, up, give it up. Okay, this, see this? Up, give it up. Even go down and give it up, okay? That's why I'm saying when you see price move up and hold that higher ground, that is a very rare and bullish behavior and occurrence, okay? See, look at this, up and then give it up. Look at this one right here, recently, up and give it up, okay? What you're looking at is an extremely bullish behavior in those indexes that are holding that higher ground. Okay, that is really bullish. See how many times they go up and give it up. Okay, that's what I'm saying. We're not seeing this give it up. Okay, now that just makes it neutral when it goes up and gives it up like that. Okay, it doesn't make it bearish. Okay, when it goes up, all right, when it goes up and gives it up and more, that is bearish. Okay, when you go up and give it up, that's just neutral. But you give it up and more, that's bearish. All right. Okay, the other thing that's bearish if you move down and hold the lower ground, that would be bearish. Okay, but you can see it goes up and just gives it up. All right, let's take a look at yesterday's candle. Actually, let's just point out the obvious. We're not in the upper third. So up here in the upper third, up here, that's bullish. Okay, in the lower third, down here, okay, this is bearish. Okay, we're in the middle right here. Okay, this is neutral right here. Okay, because you notice how price goes up, okay, and gives it up. Okay, so that's neutral. Well, it did the same thing on the southern direction. Okay, it went down and it gave it up. Okay, so that just makes it neutral right there. All right, let's look at what's going on here. Let's point out the obvious. We're making higher lows and we're making higher highs. Believe it or not, that did beat by 1 penny right there. Okay, so it's in an uptrend, all right? But let's face it, it's been unable to hold the higher ground, so it's just neutral. Yesterday's candle gapped down and then bullied back to the bearish trap. We're closing underneath a bearish trap. That's bearish, by the way. You're underneath the 17. See how The green dot now has turned to red, all right? That's bearish as well. We're closing underneath downtrend line 1. That's bearish. Over downtrend line 2. That's bullish. Okay? Still stuck in the middle, the neutral ground. Okay? So we're just neutral, but we're in an uptrend. Okay? So the cake has to bake a little bit longer before it's ready to buy. All right? It's not ready yet. Okay? Just neutral. When we see it move up and finally hold that higher ground, look over here, for more than, there's 3, there's 7, there's 3 more, 10. When it holds for more than 10 days, okay, we might have something then, all right? If it can't hold more than 10 days, all right, kind of like stand down. You know what I'm saying? It's not ready yet, okay? We want it to hold more than 10 days. Look, 10 days here, and then they gave it up, all right? So that's what we're looking for in XLE, and it's not there yet, okay? We are seeing an uptrend. That is good, all right? But just not have the strength yet, so it's not ready. So there's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Again, USO, you can see failure after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. After 5 days, it failed, okay? We are making a comeback, though, all right? Yesterday's candle, again, okay, not in the upper third, okay? Got to be in the upper third, not in the upper third, all right? Got to be up here in the upper third to be bullish, so it's just neutral. Again, you go up, you give it up, that's just neutral. Same thing, you go down, you give it up, that's just neutral, okay? So just neutral right here on USO. Not bullish, not bearish, just neutral. Still making higher lows and higher highs, okay? Now, if they happen to take out, see this low that cuts below the 17 EMA right here? If they take out that low right there, they will have a downtrend. Right now, they have an uptrend, all right, that's struggling to move higher, okay? So if they get up on top of that, that will be a higher high, okay? I think that's a tall order to take out that high. I don't think they'll do it, but as long as they don't break that low, they will stay in an uptrend, even though they're moving to the right. Okay, all right. So there's USO. All right, it's in an uptrend, but just neutral. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG, different story. Okay, UNG. Okay, let's take a look at this, and you can see UNG got a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, there's your triple top crown. That's your head. Okay, you got a double top right here, right shoulder, and a double top left shoulder. Okay, and then we've got a neckline right here that's being re-challenged as we speak. Okay, we've got a head and shoulders pattern with probably a destination to challenge those prior all-time lows right over here where my cursor is on the bottom left part of the screen. Let me move it over in case I've got my picture in there. Okay. Okay, so these are the all-time lows right here. Okay. So there's UNG. All right. It's in a downtrend. Okay. Why? You got lower highs. See the lower highs? Okay. So here's 4 lows right here. Well, we made a lower low. All right, so we're in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend status or label, they got to take out this high right here. Okay, they take out that high, they can negate the downtrend label or status. Okay, yesterday's candle, they're in a downtrend, but they're not moving down. For the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, they've been moving up. All right, candle for yesterday, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. That is bullish. And over the 17 EMA, that is also bullish. Still underneath this 18-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right there. All right. And you can see they're still in the lower third. So they're still bearish. All right. So they're still bearish and in a downtrend. They're actually challenging the neckline right now. You're getting a pullback to the neckline. All right, so there's UNG. Okay, definitely not bullish at this time. Let's take a look at GLD. All right, GLD obviously up and over to the right. Come on, people. We know this is bullish, right? Okay, look at that triple top up there. And they're not leaving the area. That's a clue. You get a triple top and they're not leaving the area, good chance you're going higher. Okay, again, price action in an uptrend because it's making higher lows and higher highs. Price action yesterday was a gap down and they rallied back into the bullish trap over the 17 and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish and in an uptrend, okay? One of these is an all-time high right there, okay? And notice they're not leaving the area, so that's bullish. Silver. All right, silver, see how it moves up, holds the higher ground, okay? Then comes the reward, the liftoff. See how they create the launch pad and then they have liftoff right there. Silver, uptrend, up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, all right? Just 4 days ago, all right? New 12-year high right there. Not an all-time high, 12-year high. Okay, we are at 12-year highs for silver. That's bullish and in an uptrend. If they take out this low down here, they will negate the uptrend and convert the downtrend. All right? I don't see it happening, really. I don't see it happening. It's looking good, looking very bullish. Again, holding up there. You can take a look at the monthly chart for silver. You can see I'm on a monthly chart. 2012 was the last time we were up this high. See that? 2012, 2013. So 12-year, 13-year high right now, okay, on silver, all right? That's incredible, all right? So that's good. And again, courtesy of the weak dollar, that certainly helps things out, okay? Silver moving up, okay? All-time high. Might as well know where it is right now in case you want to go after it. 48.45. Okay, all-time high is 48. Let's just call it 48.50. All right, that's all-time high. Okay, so that's silver. All right, back to the daily chart. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Okay, SMH. All right, SMH. 3 days ago, put in a new all-time high. Okay, so quadrant 4, obviously bullish and in an uptrend. If there's any questions, please ask them. All right, or if you disagree. New all-time high, XLK. See the launch pad, see the lift off right there. New all-time high. Drop the mic. That's bullish and in an uptrend. XLF. Okay, moving up, holding the higher ground. Okay, all-time high right there. About 10 days ago for XLF. Over a prior all-time high anchored VWAP, consolidating near the highs of quadrant 4. I said it, if you see index highs, XLF better be making some new highs as well, all right, because that's all about investment banking, all right, and they're the ones, all they got to do is ride the coattails of big money, okay, they're the ones that facilitate all of this, all right, all these highs that we're getting right now, okay, so they better be making new all-time highs. All right, the market can sell them off, but those earnings better be saying higher highs. All right, in other words, higher earnings per share. All right, XLF. All right, let's take a look at IYT. IYT moves up and over to the right, holding, guess what, the upper third, so that's bullish. Okay, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish in the upper third. Higher lows, see the couple of lows, we got higher lows, 3 higher lows there. Got a couple of higher highs right there, and we got a higher high. So that's uptrend and bullish up there in the upper third. Transports. All right. Let's take a peek at economic data. All right. Max Pain for today, 623. Okay. We got monthlies and weeklies expiring and dailies expiring today. Put to call ratio 1.1 put for each call. So it's not really a big spread, okay? There's equal puts and equal calls. So they might rally it, all right? Because there's no like clear advantage from one side to the other, okay? Actually, that's been the lowest put to call ratio I've seen all week right there, okay? All week. All right, so there is put to call ratio, and max pain is 623 right there. Dollar, US dollar, okay? Let's look at this. I said it was at a 3-year low, right? Okay. Okay, this is be major support. See the valleys down here? That's major support right there. Okay? This is the dollar. Got some lower highs. See, there's a high, lower high. And we're making, there's a low, we're making lower lows. See the series of lower highs and lower lows, okay? That's a downtrend. Okay, you can see we got underneath major support. And then we came back and tested it. See that? And we failed to hold above it. All right, so we failed to hold the ground up there. So we went down and made a lower low. All right, now we got price in a downtrend. Now we like, for a consumer, weak dollar is not good because that means our money doesn't go as far. All right, it makes it, more costly to buy goods and services. All right, as a consumer, all right, a weak dollar sucks because our paychecks don't go as far. All right, but for the investor, it means possibly new markets getting opened up, global expansion. All right, into areas that we could not break into before because our dollar was too rich. All right, so this is awesome right now for the investment banker and for the investor. It's great. All right, for the consumer in the USA, it sucks. Okay, so yesterday's candle closed up here because this is today's candle. So we closed at 98.63. I got to fix that. Okay, so we closed at 98.63. Okay, so there's a dollar. Economic calendar. Okay, CPI was not bad. All right, they said it rose up, but let me just say the numbers were not that bad. PPI was awesome. All right, we just went through jobless claims. That was awesome yesterday. All the economic data has been good. All right, I got to tell you, it's not bad at all. All right, market's doing well. All right, so today we got housing starts and permits 8:30, consumer sentiment at 10, and a rig count at 1. All right, and I think it's a while before we have an FOMC meeting. All right, so wherever it's going today, which is holding the higher ground, I would expect a continuation of the same move or the same direction until we get an FOMC statement or some bad data. All right, and I don't see any bad data on the horizon. Everything is looking good. We just passed the big beautiful bill. Not crazy about that, but it will probably inject a whole lot of money into the economy. All right, which means that'd be good news. All right, injecting money into the economy, it's going to cause more buying to occur. All right, so there's the economic calendar. Earnings report. All right, American Express going to report this morning. I don't know if Taiwan Semiconductor ever reported. HDFC is supposed to find their P&L and report sometime today. They'll probably blow it off till next week. Charles Schwab, 169 billion, I think. I can barely see. 165. They're going to report this morning. 3M, $84 billion. Okay. Nothing here is really going to move the market, but they may help out their sector. Southern Copper, not sure why they can't get the P&L together today. But anyways, that's not a good sign. Things are looking good, all right? And we're kicking off a new earnings season. We just had a lot of the big financials report this week. And this is awesome. Big tech, when big tech reports, big tech usually leads a lot of those rallies. Probably lead a big push forward into the highs. We'll see. So there's the earnings calendar. We did the economic calendar, Max Payne, and we did the dollar. Okay, I just want to go over the 5K account. All right, here's the 5K account, and we traded this. Yeah, I didn't save it. For some reason, it didn't save. Oh, that sucks. All right, well, anyways, here's the 5K account. Okay, it's over here. All right, let's open up the 5K. 5K account's up to 8,877. It's the same one we started on 7/7. So 10 days ago, all right? We were already up 50%. Okay, what did we trade yesterday? Yeah, we traded the same thing, the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right? All right, so we're up to 8,877 on that. I don't know what happened to that. I thought I saved that yesterday, that 5K account. I got to look to see what happened. All right, so there we are. There's the 5K account. All right, it's up to 8,000. All right, that's it for me for this morning. All right, going to try to render this and get this out here. Maybe I can get it to you before 4 o'clock this evening. All right, and everyone will be prepared. We'll see what happens. All right. All right, so I'll see you guys in about 25 minutes.